Noomi Rapace and Hilmir Snaer Guonason as a childless couple, María and Ingvar, who discover a mysterious newborn on their farm in Iceland. The unexpected prospect of family life brings them much joy before ultimately destroying them. This was written and directed by Valdemar Johansson, and it was actually just selected as the Icelandic entry for Best International Feature for next year's Oscars. It was released earlier in the month, and it's a horror movie from one of my favorite companies, A24. And while A24 has an eclectic filmography, you know when they release a horror movie, things are going to get weird, and to say the least, that's what we get here. This is one of those films that's entirely predicated on how much you're on board with its initial premise, which is the fact that this couple become parents to a half-lamb, half-human baby. And yes, you heard that correct. The child, named Ada, has the body of a human with the head and one arm of a lamb. Aesthetically, this feels very grounded and realistic. It's extremely minimalistic, rarely does it have any huge emotional outbursts or overly dramatic moments, and it instead relies on a quiet, brooding atmosphere, keeping things mostly at the same energy level for the entirety of the film. And between the cinematography and sometimes tight camera angles, it's meant to feel inviting, despite its generally cold demeanor. You're supposed to feel like you're right there with these characters. You're meant to feel like this is a truly real world, especially since it touches upon relatable themes like parenthood and trying to overcome grief, with part of María and Ingvar's arc being that they once had a child of their own, also named Ada, only for her to arrive stillborn, which is why they named the baby lamb human after her and treat her as if she truly was their own. And we see the lengths they would go to protect her, María especially. And while I don't think the film had quite as much to say on the subject as I thought it would, it can still be very effective, especially thanks to Noomi Rapace's performance, and a lot of that aforementioned camera work that makes it feel like these are two friends of ours that we're watching. The only thing is, you're essentially asked to just go with it. Despite the grounded feel, there are some light supernatural elements to this, as evidenced by its general premise, and the filmmakers ask you to just trust them and accept that this is reality in this world. There are several things that don't really have too much of an explanation as to how they're possible. We can piece certain things together, especially once we get to the end, but this is a film that doesn't look to explore how these supernatural or fantastic elements are possible, despite a tone that suggests otherwise for much of its runtime. It just asks you to go with it. And if you can get on board with this idea, it actually does have something to offer, with its mix of eccentricity and brutality. And yes, it's worth noting that while this doesn't consistently rely on graphic visuals to get its point across, there are a few sequences here that are quite unsettling. I wouldn't call the film as a whole scary necessarily, but there are a few moments that undoubtedly will send chills down your spine. But if you're fine with something a little strange and unnerving at the same time, Lamb will be the movie for you. It doesn't quite completely answer all the questions it raises, and its quiet, minimalistic tone doesn't always work to its advantage, but it's certainly a unique story that touches upon relatable themes like grief, and for the most part, I think it does get its point across to some degree. Anchored by a great lead performance and some stunning direction, if these sort of films are up your alley, then I'd say it's worth a watch. Lamb gets a 7.5 out of 10. So let me know, did you see Lamb, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did this story work for you? Do you have a favorite A24 horror movie? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and keep having fun with film.